These rebels are changing the way we work. Get the power to transform the way you work without having to change your workflow. Now all the insights you need are only one click away with Lexis for Microsoft Office.
Networking through the internet. It's all about relationships. Our speaker is Kevin O'Keefe, 30-year lawyer and provocative thought leader. Kevin, you're on.
You know, I'm really not bored with the legal profession. I've been a lawyer for 30 years, and it's never been a better opportunity for someone to be a lawyer today. So I don't look at the world like Ed Adams does, that the glass is half empty. I look at it as if the glass is half full. And there's never been an opportunity to do things that you want to do professionally, personally, for you and your family. The things I'm talking about are social media, and we're talking about it for professional growth. When I went to law school in the late 70s, there was no such thing as marketing. Could you imagine having Procter & Gamble come to your law school and tell you how you're going to create a brand for yourself? Well, now you're listening to that type of, excuse my language, crap being told to you. You have to develop a personal brand. We have to get the brand of our firm out. We have to do all these things. But it's all about becoming a better lawyer. That's what it's about. And so you use social media for both professional growth and personal growth. Look at advertising. 14% of people trust advertising today. How many people trust lawyers? Probably much smaller than that. So all the advertising you're doing, websites, email newsletters, alerts, and those type of things, there's a return on investment of maybe 5 cents on the dollar for what you're spending because people don't trust it. What do they trust? They trust relationships with other people and networking. They trust media, all those things that you see up on the board. Why? Because they're engaging with people. They engage. Who knows who the executive director of the American Bar Association is, new director? Who knows here today? One person. Does Ed know? 2. Why? Because they're not engaged with any lawyers. They don't go out and participate in this type of stuff that I'm talking about. That's why nobody cares what they're really doing, because they're not engaged. They don't get out and network in the forms of social media that you have the opportunity to do. They're not trying to learn from lawyers. They're not listening to their constituents. They're not listening to the American public. They're not out doing these sort of things. Networking in the old days was go to the Rotary meeting early in the morning and sing a song, and say the Pledge of Allegiance. And it scared the hell out of every young lawyer that this is what we're going to have to do for the next 40 years. It's not that way today. And why do we do it? We build relationships with people. And think about it. You hear relationships all the time. If you talk to a CEO of a Global 2000 company or Fortune 200 company, they're going to say it's relationships with our customers, our partners, our employees, all the strategic partners we have. It's all about relationships. And why? Because we develop a word of mouth. And that's all we have as lawyers. Nobody talks about, my brand has been sullied. Where do I go to get my brand repaired? It's my reputation. My reputation has been sullied. Where do I go to get it repaired? Is this type of stuff, creating relationships with your clients, prospective clients, and other people, websites, email newsletters, ads in bar journals, it's ridiculous, but this is what you spend your money on because you're afraid that the guy down the street is doing it, and if you don't keep up with it, you're out of it. You do it with a strategy, though. You write down who your clients are, your prospective clients, and the influencers, the associations they're members of, the blogs they read, the reporters they follow, the associations they're members of, and their executive directors, and you network with them. And what do? You create social media equity. It's just equity, it's the trust. If you have equity in your home, you can start a business and you can do a second mortgage. You build social media equity. And the way that you do it is giving of yourself. The number one rule on the internet is what Zig Ziglar said probably 50 years ago. You can have everything you want so long as you help enough other people get everything they want. That's what it's about. It's not about putting your stuff out there. Because what you're going to get when you share information with other people, you give of yourself. You don't share your stuff, you share other people's things. You develop trust. But you first have to listen. You can't just go out and shout. You wouldn't go to a cocktail party and network and get a bullhorn and shout into people's ears your content written by your associates. You'd look like a buffoon. But everybody would remember you. They'd remember the brand. They'd remember the logo that you had on your shirt. You have to listen because it's a conversation online. It's very much a conversation. It's the type of conversation that I got into in the 70s. It's the same. Nothing's changed with technology. And older people do better at social media than younger people because they understand the value of relationships. You add value to the conversation. You don't just go and spew stuff out. You listen, and then you have an opportunity to add value. What would adding value to this conversation mean to people? It's not about pushing your information out to them through this social media pipe. And you can't stay in. You know, everybody says, I want to build the source for this or that. We're going to have a website. We're going to build a blog. It's going to be the leading source. Well, that's a lot of baloney because you're not going to be the leading source. And you don't want to be the leading source in your conference room that's talking and trying to advertise to get people to come there, to come to your website. Like people are going to come to your website and read your bios. How silly is that? You got to go out and network with people, engage with people. And then you've got to stop doing all the stupid things you do. You know, spending years developing social media policies. I was talking to John Sermon. Texas is on their second year developing a social media policy when John can go create a Facebook page this afternoon and begin to network with people. You stop doing those stupid things. You start to be real, a person willing to take a chance. You don't have to be perfect to be a participant in social media because no one knows what the hell we're doing. It's new. You get to go out and just fake it, and it's okay. So long as your ego isn't so big that you say, I'm afraid that anybody would see I made a mistake. You know, I'm too perfect, I can't do that. The outcome is wonderful. You do the type of work you want to do for the type of clients you want to do it for. And you have dinner on Friday night with your husband and your wife and you say, things are going pretty well. I'm enjoying being a lawyer. It's never been a better time to be a lawyer. And what it's all going to be about is really leadership, because most of you today are going to leave and just blow this off and do nothing about it. But I'd read you what Lou Holtz said to a group of alumni at Notre Dame, and he said, 10 paradoxes of leadership. People are illogical, unreasonable, self-centered, love them anyway. If you do good, people will accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives, do good anyway. If you're successful, you'll win false friends and true enemies, succeed anyway. Honesty and frankness will make you vulnerable, be honest anyway. And do good, you're going to get kicked in the teeth, do good anyway. So I would tell you to get out there and engage people.